Good morning. If you're new to my channel, hi, it's nice to meet you. My name is Milena, but in the case that you are a returning subscriber, well then, welcome back. As you may be able to tell from the title of this video, today I wanted to talk to you guys about indicators that you should or you shouldn't study economics at university. And of course, I'm no fortune teller, so I can't tell you for sure if you're going to enjoy economics or even if you're going to be good at it. And so what I can tell you are pretty basic, just characteristics of people who usually study economics and enjoy economics, maybe even concepts or subjects that people who study economics usually like or are good at, just to give you a general feel of what studying economics really means, because I'm assuming the majority of people who are going to be watching this video are high school students trying to figure out which area they want to go into. And of course, it's hard to choose which area you want to go into due to the fact that you don't know anything about the area. People usually think of economics as an umbrella term for honestly, basically anything. You can apply economics to basically anything. However, to really enjoy studying it, that is an art form in itself. And because economics is such a broad subject, people usually don't like giving a yes or no answer with regards to if you're gonna like it or if you're like made to study economics. When I was applying for university, I really just wanted someone to tell me if I was going to like the area that I was going into, which the premise is quite simple, you know, like it's not a yes or no kind of answer when someone asks you, am I going to be good at economics or am I going to like it? There are different areas that are very different, and so there are just general things that I do think apply to most fields in economics and at least are necessary for you to know when you're studying it in the university. I like to see economics as a subject which tries to help you understand the world, the people in it, the institutions, and how we can all work together to produce things efficiently and in most cases try to achieve equity and just general social well-being. And that sentence alone might not seem very promising to you who has, at this point, no idea what they want to do, because what I just said is extremely broad. Like, it's not very specific, and that really shows kind of the nature of economics, that it can be applied to pretty much any other field. But I digress, because the fact that you are at this video right now and you're watching this means that you already understood that economics is a very broad subject and you're maybe interested in it, but you're not really sure if it's for you. And so here are a few indicators if you should study economics or not. Note that I am no professional and I'm also just a student who happened to study economics, and so everything that I tell you here today is from my personal experience and from what I've noticed that are just common trends in people who study economics, but I do hope that it gives you a little bit of a preview of the different skills that you need to be in this area. So the first indicator that you might be good at economics and you might like the subject is that you like math. This may not be new information to you because of course when you think of economics you usually think of like numbers and money and stuff like that. But what I mean to say is more that math is applied in everything that you do in economics, and you have to somewhat like doing math or working with numbers, but you don't have to love it. It doesn't have to be the reason why you do economics, because a lot of students who are more interested in the math aspect of economic practice go into subjects like econometrics. And so an indicator that you might like economics is that you like math, you like applying it, you're usually very good with graphs and formulas, and you kind of understand how they work and how they're used to explain real life situations. And so if you study economics, it's very unlikely that you will be looking at just like pure maths without really a lot of context, I'd say. But in most cases, you learn specific methods or approaches so that you can use it for different types of economic subjects. See, I always really liked math, but I was never exceptional. I was never really good at math. I just really liked it and I liked using it and I had fun using it. And so I do think that economics really does take that approach of kind of using math in a very, I guess, like practical manner. And for someone who is also interested in humanities, this might be something for you because then you use math with the purpose of trying to understand possibly people and society and just other institutions. And this actually brings me to my second point, that people who study economics usually usually like and have an interest in other social sciences, studying economics means that you learn a lot of different theories and ways that you can apply formulas and equations to try to help and understand how and why people act in a certain way. And that's why it's pretty common that people who study economics show some kind of interest in sociology or psychology and those kind of areas in which you really go beyond just the numbers and equations and you really look into human behavior. That's probably the main reason why I think people who prefer theory kind of struggle with economics. We are looking at numbers and we're trying to figure out if something's efficient or good and how we can maximize and optimize a certain situation. But at the end of the day, we are talking about people, and people are irrational beings who make decisions that we can't always understand. And in general, having the mindset that you know that people aren't rational and they won't act efficiently and optimally and they're gonna make mistakes is something that I feel makes a good economist, just because they know that even though they come up with theories and formulas and even come to conclusions, at the end of the day we are applying it to real people who might not behave the way that our theories and formulas predict. And a third indicator that you might be good at economics is that you are a problem solver and you have really good analytical skills. I think it was only until I was at university that I realized how important problem solving was when it came to just the creative aspect of it. When you study economics, you're basically given just a ton of previous literature and research of people who have looked into a certain subject until literally the time of their death. And so you know that there's enough research in an area. And so the only way for us to go beyond what we already know and what we already understand and what a lot of people have researched is for people to come into the area with creative and original ideas that push us beyond what we even had in mind. So if you are someone who enjoys to think of different ways to approach an issue, economics might be for you, because I feel personally that the whole subject is just centered around the idea that we need to figure out new ways to solve issues. And kind of in the same trail of thought, if you do have really good analytical skills and you're good at critical thinking and just approaching different issues with different methods, I gotta tell you, economics might be for you. Good news, you figured it out. Maybe I'm speaking too soon and you still have a few more questions, but we'll get there. That's why I think those two skills are the basis of economics, because honestly, most issues have been approached one way or another by someone who's done extensive research, and we just need people to have different views and different approaches to problems so that we can find even better ways to solve them. But that's enough of those two reasons, because I gotta be honest, I'm hearing myself right now and it's starting to sound a little too TED Talky, and that's not the purpose of this video. Honestly, the purpose of this video is to just humanize the subject of economics, because if you are someone maybe interested in studying economics, just the concept of economics might sound a little dry. You might be afraid to become a finance bro, and I gotta tell you, I share the same fear. And a fourth indicator that you might be really good at economics is if you are someone who is very curious and who asks a lot of questions. And with that, I mean a multitude of things. Actually, there are only two things, but I felt like multitude made it a little more dramatic. And so what do I mean with being curious? Well, first of all, you're someone who asks the right questions. When you are at university and you're studying economics, it's not about having the right answers at the beginning. Because I mean, if you had all the right answers in the beginning, you wouldn't need to take a course. You'd know everything. And so studying economics, just like a lot of different subjects at university, isn't about already knowing why things are a certain way, but being curious enough to ask about them. As long as you're someone who wants to know more and usually has a lot of follow-up questions, that's a pretty good indication that economics is gonna be a good subject for you, just because it does take a lot of asking questions and asking for clarifications when it comes to theories or formulas or concepts or papers. Overall, you're gonna have a lot of questions, but if you're someone who's used to asking questions, then economics might be for you. And the second part of this curiosity is being brave enough to ask the questions. And so if you're someone who doesn't like to ask questions, I got some bad news for you. Because in economics, theories come back. Principles, concepts, everything comes back. You need to understand the basis to then understand the theories that follow up, to then understand the research, and to then understand the concepts that are brought from that research, to understand why that's related to the first thing you saw, and just in general, Economics can get a little bit complex sometimes. There are a lot of things and they're somehow all connected, and you not asking questions just means that you're gonna fall behind and you're not gonna understand what's going on. And that's more or less why being curious and having questions and then also asking them is a pretty good indicator that you'll like economics and that you'll be good at it. And so the fifth and last indicator that you might like studying economics is that you're good at reading, writing, and speaking. You might be thinking to yourself, well, reading, writing, and speaking aren't exclusive to economics. And yeah, that's true. That is very much true. It's kind of used for pretty much everything, but it is also very important if you're someone who wants to study economics. It's really important to keep the academic part of economics in mind because, like, of course, academics is part of all studies, but in economics, you do a lot of reading of journals and articles and theories, and you have to be able to, first of all, read and understand them, but also be able to synthesize them and to come to your own conclusions and summaries. Also, towards the end of your study, you're going to be expected to write a research paper, in most cases, where you're gonna have to read a lot of different journals and a lot of different existing theories and come up maybe with your own study and your empirical analysis. And that requires you to kind of be good at reading and writing and not hate it. If you don't hate reading and writing, that's also a pretty good indicator. By the end of your study, you will know a lot, but you will also be expected to explain it in simple terms. And it's also really common that during your program, you're expected to give presentations or explanations on certain theories or papers. And for that, having really good speaking and just public speaking skills is extremely helpful and a good indicator that you'll be able to express yourself and your own understanding better. However, if you are someone who struggles with reading and writing and public speaking, that doesn't mean that you're not gonna make it in economics. And so not having perfect reading or writing or public speaking skills don't limit you. It does give people an advantage, and having an interest in those three areas does indicate that you'll do well. I genuinely hope that this video has been helpful and has been able to give you a little bit of an insight of what studying economics is like and what it means to study economics. Of course, I didn't cover everything that might indicate that you would be good at economics or you might enjoy economics, but I do hope that it gives you just like a basis and maybe some indicators that you will enjoy it if you study it. Either way, I hope to see you guys next time, but till then, take care. Bye guys!